The Bishops of the United States, in conjunction with Catholic Relief Services, have begun the Catholics Confront Global Poverty Initiative in response to the words of our Holy Father in his World Day of Peace message for 2009. He said, if we want to build peace, then we must fight poverty. And so we believe that the face of the poor is the face of Christ. And to the extent that we leave the poor out of our lives, either at home or abroad, to that extent do we cut ourselves off from the channel of God's love and grace. On the other hand, to the extent that we reach out to our hurting and wounded brothers in the community around us, as well as our beloved sisters, do we prepare ourselves for union with our eternal God. And so we are convinced that it's very important as we face domestic economic difficulties at home that we not forget the poorest of the poor. Peace and poverty are very closely related because to the extent that people are impoverished economically or socially, to that extent are people in a state of turmoil and unease and confusion. And to that extent do people suffer from hunger, lack of education, health care, and employment opportunities. So to the extent that we can build up the human person and provide for basic human needs, to that extent do we create the conditions wherein peace can exist. Peace is not just the absence of war. Peace is the fulfillment of the human being that God intends for every person. Well, we're all part of the human family. There's a solidarity that exists among all the members of the human family. And if one child falls asleep hungry at night, my stomach hurts. That as long as an elderly person can't afford heat or fears tomorrow, there's a chill in my bones. Or that as long as one person is treated with a lack of dignity, I'm ashamed. Because if one person in our world is oppressed, manipulated, or disregarded, then it's not someone else who is debased, but all of us are, because this is the nature of the interdependence that we have upon one another as members of the human family. And also our economic difficulties are relative. Yes, we have economic problems here at home, but compared to the plight of those in developing countries, our suffering is rather minimal. We are hoping that during the course of this campaign, we can enlist at least 1 million Catholics from throughout the United States, from our parishes, schools, colleges, and human service organizations, and fraternal and sororal organizations, first of all, to become aware of the problem. And secondly, to let our elected representatives know of our support for foreign assistance that will be focused upon poverty reduction. We also are encouraging the relief of the debt of third world countries and also supporting peacekeeping forces in those areas where there are violence. We particularly want to reach out to the poorest of the poor. Sometimes our foreign aid is directed in terms of our military or global strategy, and because of that, sometimes the poorest of the poor countries or the poorest of the poor within a given country do not have their needs met. And that's the focus we'd like to have. People can tune into our website and find information that they need so that they can be responsive to this in a very constructive and aggressive way. I spent the first 10 years of my priesthood working in the inner city in Albany, and I learned far more from the poor, from their spirit, from their flexibility, from their determination, than I was ever able to offer them. The face of the poor is the face of Christ, and Christ continues to reveal himself to us through their needs. And to the extent that we reach out to them, to that extent that we encounter the living Lord Jesus.